on the street, and this time we're switching it up. It's a little bit different. I'm going to some of the hottest places in Lake County, and I'm starting off with Drip and Culture. Here it's a socially minded coffee shop right in the middle of the grocery store. Hey everybody, it's Inchworm. We're here Wigglin on the street at one of the hottest places in Lake County, all over, okay? Forget Dunkin' Donuts, forget Starbucks, okay? We are here at Drip and Culture, and right now I'm here with the co-owner, Adam Carson. How are you?
What's up? How are you?
Welcome to the Inchworm Show.
Yo, thank you for having me, for real.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah.
This is so much fun, and first of all, I gotta say, I love this place.
Oh, man. Even though you don't drink coffee for real?
Even though I don't drink coffee, we're gonna get into that later. Even though I don't drink coffee, I still love this place. And the reason why I love it is because of what it represents. So first, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. I want you to tell the people out there just where did Drip and Culture come from? Like, how did you come up with that name? What's the meaning behind it?
Man, you know what's crazy? It really was born out of an idea my wife and I had to just revitalize the store. Like, the store had been here for 30, 40 years. And when we moved back from New York because of the pandemic, and my in-laws approached us about running the store, we were like, yo, like, what do we do? Like, how do we make the store feel like it's ours? And so much of she and I is like our experience from travel. Like, we were living in Brooklyn when the pandemic jumped off. We had traveled to the West Coast, to LA, Houston. I'm from Mississippi. Like, so much of what we had seen in the world, like, didn't exist here in Waukegan. So we wanted to bring parts of what we experienced back here. So the original idea we had was to start, was to start a sneaker shop inside of the store.
Okay.
There was an Instagram handle called Grocery Sneakers. I don't know if it still exists, but it was like very grocery themed. So like sneakers in front of like a cereal box or something like that. So I talked to my guy, shout out Keith at Concrete Sneaker Boutique in Jackson, Mississippi, just talking to him about like, yo, like, how do you do it? Like, he started out carrying like Saucony, like K-Swiss, like basically shoes nobody wanted to wear. And 7 years later, he's just carrying New Balance and like Pumas and that type of stuff. He's like, bro, it's hard. He's like, you know, if you want to go legit, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta wait and just carry trash shoes. You gotta make investments in your space. So he was like, yo, sneakers isn't it. Like, let's figure out something else. And so she was like, why don't we do coffee? It's like, shit, we had never worked in a coffee shop. So we were like, yo, let's just nerd out and like, let's really focus on like, how do you open a coffee shop? Where do you get coffee from? And she makes this joke. She was like, yo, I just, like, once we decided on coffee, I just didn't get up from my computer. You know what I mean? And so when we were thinking about names, we like, both of us are like, we like language. She's a speech pathologist. And so we like words. And so we were just like, how can we make a brand that represents like who we are and what we want to be in the community?
Yeah.
And so Drip is a play on words because Drip is obviously in pop culture, like the reference of like clothing, jewelry, who you are, like your aura, you know what I mean? And culture is like being black from Mississippi, she's Mexican American. Like, we wanted people to know, like, when you came here, you were gonna get some drip and you were also gonna get some culture. Because I mean, hell, we like in a Mexican grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, there's a taqueria right there, there's a carniceria right there, you know what I mean? Like, all the stuff, like, I know more about Mexican grocery products than I do about anything else, you know what I'm saying? And so for us, it was like, okay, like drip, okay, you got drip, we got culture. But then, like, what are we about? Like, what if we want to go out and like solve issues? We want to look at problems in our community and the world and say, like, yo, we are taking what we make here, any profits, and putting that back into the community. And so the word socially minded just popped up in my head, and so I googled it and was like, oh shit, this is a real thing. And so we ran with the socially minded coffee as a tagline because we really wanted people, like, if you look us up on Google, if you look us up on Facebook, they were like, they care about social things. Like, that's where my money is going. We wanted people to know that.
I love it. You mentioned your wife throughout this, and I said your co-owner. Shout out to her. You know, I was doing research about this place, and I saw that she's the manager of this place as well. It was really, I think she's like a true innovator and entrepreneur for even like a strong entrepreneur for even taking on this task. So I really want to shout out her for. Look, I know it's hard. She's working with her husband, getting you in line.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you want to find out who your spouse is or someone that you're interested in romantically, like, open up a business together and you'll quickly see like who knows how to talk to who knows how to receive feedback, like all of that stuff. And we've done a lot of growth, you know.
That's awesome.
Running a business together is not easy, you know.
Yeah.
But we definitely we definitely like hold each other down. I think that's super, super important.
I love that. If you had to pick, this is kind of a funny, weird question.
Okay.
It's not too
Let me
weird,
straighten my hat for
right?
this one.
If you had to pick the drip or the culture, what would
Damn,
you
that's
pick?
a hard ass question. That's a really hard. I don't know
Drip
if cursing is
or
allowed.
the
on
culture?
this
You
show.
can. Drip or the culture?
That's hard.
I stumped them.
Damn, how do you answer that?
I know.
If I had to choose, I would probably choose culture over drip.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably would. And I think, like, so for example, being here and being in the store and also speaking Spanish, most people think that I'm Dominican or Puerto Rican or something not African American, right? And so what it's really, it's kind of messing with me a little bit, because you realize as a Black American, our understanding of the African diaspora is specific to America. It's not specific to the Western Hemisphere.
That's deep.
Right? And so for me, culture, like you think about we think about Black culture in America, but it's much bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
And so I would definitely have to go with the culture piece. Like, you know, we've been talking, and my mother-in-law says this stuff all the time about how there are Africans, people of African descent who live and have been born for generations in Mexico.
Yeah.
So there's such a richness to who we are as a people, you know what I mean? And it's not lost on me, again, that we're in a Mexican grocery store. So that cultural element is heavy. It's heavy when you walk in the door, you know what I mean? And there's music playing, and you come back here and there's different music playing, you know what I mean? But it's super, super important what makes this work.
Absolutely. I think I would pick the culture too.
Since like the dream is free and the hustle is sold separately, like when my wife and I first started dating, we went, and she was like, yo, I want to go camping. So I was like, yo, let's go to Portland. I was just in Portland, so let's go out to Portland, let's go camping, right? So we were just kind of, you know, we camped outside of Portland, but we went into the city and we saw that like in like some kind of like boutique or shop like that. And then just like we have dreamed of businesses, of concepts, of things. And so it's really wild for us to see people come here for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this used to be the seating for the taqueria. You know what I mean? So there was nothing in this corner, and then we made this corner into a space that's creating community. Like, it's dope. It's really, really dope, because like we all have dreams and stuff we want to accomplish, and like you don't know if it's gonna bang. Like you don't know if people are gonna rock with it.
Yeah.
And so to see people rock with it is like it's really amazing. Yeah.
How was it for you working in the corporate field and transitioning into being a Black man in corporate and now transitioning and having your own business? Can you just name one lesson or something that you learned from being in corporate to owning your own business?
I think that the thing that I take most away from this, and this is something I talk to a lot of people about, like working in corporate America, it builds your resolve. You know what I mean? Because for me, in the roles that I was in, oftentimes, like I was responsible for coming up with ideas, with strategies for where organizations should go or how they should manage like some of the major projects and initiatives they were working on. And you get used to people like shitting on your ideas.
Yeah.
Like playing you to the left, like, oh, that's not really important, or oh, that's not where we should be focused. And then watching them take your idea and take credit for it. You feel me? Like taking the thing that you worked so hard for, right, that you built, and to see them discredit it, but then use elements of your thing as they advance and as they move forward.
Make money off you.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real. But what it taught me is the power of ideas. Like you hear a lot of people, especially spiritual or religious people, say like there's power in our gifts and talents and our ideas. Those are those things that are inspired, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have that idea, like don't let anybody take it away from you, hold on to it, but also be about the work of taking that idea from like, oh, I just had this random idea to, you know what, I have a business plan, I have goals, and I'm moving towards every day accomplishing those goals. Like that's the biggest thing, because corporate America exists. They have ideas, they have strategies every year. That's what a strategic plan is. And sometimes those are 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've written those plans for organizations. And I've seen people poo-poo on them, but at the same time, you're still using my language and the words that I've used.
Absolutely.
And it's a fine line between becoming jaded, you know what I'm saying? And so keep the good spirit, keep good faith, but be about that work when you have your ideas and that opportunity to move forward. Yeah.
I want to get into this coffee.
Facts
Okay?
though, facts. Let's do
I am
it.
not a coffee drinker. I can count on my hands the amount of time I've had some coffee.
I mean, it is late, so you might not want to do that to yourself.
I am not a coffee drinker. But I want to know more about coffee. So we're
Okay.
going to get into this coffee situation,
Let's do it.
What is it? What's the difference? When people say good coffee, what does that mean? Like, what is good coffee?
I mean, this is what, so for the most important thing about coffee is when it was roasted and when it was ground.
Okay.
So the moment that you grind coffee, it starts to lose its flavor. And a lot of times when you go in the grocery store, or even here, like if you buy coffee, we try to set aside two different types. We have the whole bean and we have ground, because not everybody has a grind bean.
Okay.
And not everybody knows this fact. So if you go to the grocery store and buy a bag of coffee that's been ground, you have no idea. That could have been last year, that could have been 2 years ago. You have no idea how long it's been there.
Okay.
And so the quality of the coffee is going to slowly start to decrease. So basically every week it loses a standard deviation of flavor.
Oh, wow.
And so when I tell you like we nerded out about coffee, like we really nerded out about coffee.
Okay.
And so that is really important. The second thing is single origin versus blend. So we have 4 single origin coffees. So that means that the coffee plant, the farm that it's grown on,
Okay.
like that coffee is either going to come from one farm or one region in the country that's growing that coffee. So imagine like the bees, the birds, like everything pollinating the plants, like it's bringing its own unique flavor.
This is deep.
Yo, this shit is really deep, okay? Like, so for example, my in-laws in Mexico, there's some they have a farm and there's some bees that have taken over a tractor on the farm. But near where the bees have taken over, there are lemon trees, there's orange trees, and there's something, limes. So as the bees are pollinating those trees, that pollen is also going into the honey, so it changes the flavor. You see what happened there? It's the same. It's the same thing with coffee. So like our Ethiopian coffee, like when we first got it and I tried it, I was like, yo, this is amazing because it tastes like tea. It's a lighter flavor, lemon. You could probably do it. And so single origin versus blend, which is why single origin coffee is usually more expensive. And you can only get it at places like Starbucks, Missouri. If it's a blended coffee, that means it's coffee coming from all over. It could come from Guatemala, it could come from Ethiopia, it could come from Kenya, and it could be all mixed together. So all of those flavors are going to be hanging out and doing their own thing.
Okay.
But we like single origins because number one, it puts you on quality coffee from a country or a region in the country. And then number two, it just tastes amazing. That's really what it is. So you've got when it was ground and then where it's from, the type of coffee that it is.
Where it was ground and where it's from. I think what always scared me the most about coffee is because I always hear people saying they're addicted to it. Like
it's real.
People be addicted to it, and I'm like, I don't want to be
It's
addicted.
real.
I don't want to have to wake up and
Like,
I gotta go get it, and people's day be messed up because they didn't have their coffee. It's ridiculous.
I mean, a part of that is dramatics. The other part of that is real. Because
what are they addicted to? Is it the
caffeine.
Okay, so it's the sugar.
Yeah. No, it's not the sugar. It's caffeine.
Oh, the caffeine.
Just straight caffeine. Just straight caffeine. So, because what happens, our bodies become dependent on it.
Okay.
And so it's called like caffeine withdrawals. If you don't have it, then your body's like, yo, where is it? Like, what's up? And then you get headaches. So if I don't drink coffee, I will get a headache. For real. But I also drink a crap ton of coffee.
Okay. All right.
All day, every day.
So we're gonna get into the drip. We gotta get into the drip. So you're gonna show me some coffee.
I'll show you a latte. Yeah, lattes are
latte.
good. Yeah.
Show me latte. How
Are you
make
lactose
it?
intolerant?
No.
Okay, bet.
Well, I prefer almond milk. Is that?
I mean, that's gonna mess it up, but we'll get it to you.
No, I'll drink it though. I'll drink it. Let me stop being picky. All right, y'all. Let's get into this drip. All right, it's time to make some drip. What kind of drip we making, Adam?
So we are about to make a cafe olla latte.
Cafe olla.
Yeah, that was good. And so this is like European culture. So culturally, cafe de olla is a coffee that people traditionally make in their homes, and it's called coffee in a pot. That's the literal translation.
Okay.
So that means that you get ground coffee, you would put brown sugar, you would put cloves, anise, black peppercorn, like whatever you wanted. Basically, every family had their own recipe.
Okay.
So when we first opened, people would ask us like, yo, do you have cafe de olla? You have cafe de olla? And I was like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about it. And so what we did is figure out a way to make our own syrup. So it has piloncillo, which is brown sugar, orange peel, anise, and clove in it. And so we're about to make that in a latte.
All right.
So lattes start by grinding espresso beans. And so again, freshness is key. So this was ground just now. And so it's gonna be super, super fresh.
So that's the whole bean.
That is the whole bean.
Got grounded to the grounded bean.
To the ground, yep, that's what just like that. And so I'm gonna brew this. So all I did is just made that espresso, give it a nice flat surface and tamped it down easily because there's a lot of pressure in this. And so as the water extracts, you wanna make sure there's a nice even surface for that water to flow through.
Okay, so it's water coming out.
So this is coffee.
I mean, I know that it's water pouring into the coffee
to make espresso. Yeah. And so the key to this is I want this to run. I know that I've got 14 grams that came out of here. And so I want about 1.5 ounces. So 3 ounces in total for an espresso.
Okay.
So that's what we got here in this cup. Nice, beautiful espresso. If this was glass, we would know that there's a little bit of cream on the top of that. And that's just because of the process there. So we got that ready. And so what we're about to do, so a latte is espresso and steamed milk. So we're about to steam the milk right here. So I'm gonna do this. I want a nice layer of foam on the top of this. And that's gonna help us make a pretty design on the top of this, right? If I do this right.
I saw this on your Instagram.
Oh yeah. And so all I'm doing, you heard it skip at the beginning, that added air to the top layer. And then I'm just waiting for this to get nice and hot before I turn that off.
Did they heat this too? Or
Oh yeah. So touch the bottom of that. Not all the way, but just tap it in.
I'm scared. Okay.
Alright, then. So we got your steamed milk here ready to go. We've got our espresso, and so we're just going to combine those two together to make a version of a heart. Boom. And there you go. It's not real if it doesn't spill over the sides.
That looks so good.
Right?
It just looks good.
It really does, though. And it is tasty as hell. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
That.
All right. I need to taste this. I'm drinking a Cafe de Oya latte. Okay. This was my first latte.
Word?
Ever in life. I don't know be drinking this.
I mean, this is facts. You did say that.
Okay.
We don't miss it.
It's good. I'm not lying, because I don't drink coffee.
But you gotta take a straw out though. There you go. Right here.
Okay. Right here. And then drink it.
Drink it like a G.
Okay. It's really good. So this is the caffeine. This is what's gonna keep
That's
you
what's
up.
gonna keep you up. So there's caffeine in it, and then you got a little bit of milk. And the flavor as well.
You know, Adam is married turned me into a coffee drinker.
I mean, I'll see you tomorrow.
I've been turned out. I'm a coffee drinker now. This is so good. Tell everybody what's like your favorite? Like, what do people outside of the
Lattes. And Cafe de Oya lattes.
Cafe de Oya?
Uh-huh.
What do people like?
Man, you know, that's a really hard question. People like a little bit of everything. What I've tried to do here is come up with flavors that you wouldn't get anywhere else. So Cafe de Oya, while it's really popular as a coffee, you don't often see it as a latte. We have fig, date, and plum bitter latte, so that's a fig and date syrup with plum bitters. Bitters are something you use in alcoholic beverages, and so I wanted to pull that in and get something that just doesn't taste like coffee. We have a sweet potato latte as well that's been really popular, and that's based off of soup that I make that's butternut squash and sweet potato. So I'm always looking for flavors that, you know what I mean, you just wouldn't expect in a latte. And so people try all of them. They really do. They really do buy those.
Wow. I need some with some alcohol in it too. I need some with some, I don't know.
Bet we're gonna holler at the city and then, you know what I'm saying, in a couple of months maybe we can hook you up.
Make it happen.
Facts.
Come on, Ann Taylor, make it happen.
Facts.
Okay, well tell everybody where you're located and all that good stuff.
Okay. We're located at 2015 Grand Ave in Waukegan, inside Supermercado Gonzalez. You'll find us in the back corner next to the delicious smells from our back of the end.
All right, I'm Inchworm. I'm gonna finish my latte. Look at me with my latte.
I know, right?
Make sure y'all come out to Drink culture, and keep following me on YouTube for more interviews for Wigglin on the Street on the Inchworm Show. I love y'all. Peace.